also what I wanted to talk about in terms of fear is competition and my perspective on that. What I can tell you about competition, and I'll explain a little bit more in detail how I couldn't imagine an industry with more fear, where you should have a bit more fear for competition than mine. I'll explain why after. But my perspective on competition with my experience is that they make mistakes. They're not perfect. They leave voids to be filled, and you simply have to ask yourself, why not be you to be the one to fill that void, right? Why not be you to offer something different, offer something a little bit better? There's something that they're not doing. Go in there and do it, plain and simply. My industry in Ottawa, there's 1 million tires to be collected. Now, there's one company called EcoTire who probably hauls 60% of that. Another company that used to be called Ontario Tire Recovery, who's now bought out by a major American company who probably hauls, I would say, 40%, and some other smaller companies were hauling the difference. Now, here's what I had to assess before making my decision to go into the business. EcoTire, the ones that are hauling 60%, they own the recycling center where you have to take your tires. So basically, I was in a situation where I had to say to myself, okay, I need these people, I need my competitors for me to stay in business, and somehow I have to say to myself, yes, this thing will work out. But for whatever reason, I think if I thought about it a little bit more, if my mentality was one where I was afraid of competition, I probably would have backed out of it from there. But for me, all I focus on is the goal and what it is that I can do to achieve the goal. And the other factors don't really faze me. In fact, I had an employee at a time, probably the hardest working individual I've ever met in my life. Anybody that knows me, for some reason, when I talk about the business, I used to talk about him as far as the drive that he had. It pretty much matched mine. And in terms of him wanting to grow the business, and as far as the marketing, etc., I just couldn't have asked for more determination, more dedication from an employee than him. One thing about him, though, every 2 days he would come at me and tell me what the competition is doing. He'd have some kind of information where, he'd try to dig it up and say, okay, this is what so-and-so is doing, and to him, whatever they were doing, I had to match it. Well, for one, I didn't have their budget, and second, it's just not my mentality to focus too much on what others are doing. I know what it is that we're doing, I know what our direction it is that we're going, let's just follow it. Right? To me, his mentality was almost like, okay, you're driving a car, but you're spending 90% of your time looking in your rearview mirror. Why? How long is it going to take before you crash and burn? Of course, every now and then you have to do a shoulder check, but you need to be looking forward. That's, sure, in other words, there is competition, they are viable competition, but really nothing can really stop you except yourself if you're serious about reaching your goals. So that would be my perspective on competition. I mean, really what it comes down to, if there's only one thing I could share with you is your goal once you match your goal with the right level of effort, I don't think there's much that can stand in your way of achieving it, of reaching it. So, and really the only risk that you're looking at, in my opinion, is yourself. The only thing that you can really control is the controllables, which is yourself. And I was talking earlier about being relentless and forcing through when things get challenging. The OCLF doesn't know this, but they actually saved my business at a point. I'll tell you a story really quickly. I started out with one small truck, a 16-foot box truck that could carry about 300 tires. Okay. The truck, however, was made for about half a ton. 300 tires is 3 tons. So I was carrying 6 times the payload, 6 times the weight the truck is designed for. What that did is, obviously, it really destroyed the suspensions on the truck pretty fast, and created a situation where you're driving down the highway, and the recycling center is in Castleman, just the next exit past Castleman, which is Moose Creek. You're driving down that road, and the truck is swaying from side to side. So naturally, the truck suspension wore out even faster. What that did as a result is it disaligned the door from the cab, from the truck, basically. Created a situation where you couldn't really shut down the truck anymore. You couldn't really close the door anymore. So what I did, well, you figure you have customers that have to be serviced. They call you, they have 150 tires that need to be picked up. You have to go, otherwise if the piles get too big, somebody else goes and picks it up. You lose your credibility from that customer, and you ultimately maybe lose the customer. I tied a rope to the handle of the door, and I would drive with one hand and hold the rope with the other. I would recommend doing this. The MTO catches you if you're running a business using a truck. Well, the truck was going to be parked one way or another, whether you like it or not. So, but that's what it took for me to push through. I didn't have a choice. I didn't have the money to replace the truck at the time. And I was in a situation where the next money I was going to see, I think, was probably in another 30 days. So parking the truck just wasn't an option. Fixing it, I made some inquiries as to what it would cost, and it really wasn't within budget. But something else ended up happening. I can't really remember what it is that happened, but the truck was just out of commission. I was going to have to find a couple $1,000s to fix it, or buy another truck or whatever have you. I believe a week later, that's when I was obviously going through the process of working with the OCLF, and a week later, I think that's when we got approval and finally got the check cut to us, and immediately bought another truck, a 5-ton truck that's designed to carry 5 ton, etc. So George, you don't know this, but you saved my business. Thank you. Really, I don't know what else to say. I mean, I don't know how else to describe this, what else to tell you to do. You're going to have to decide for yourself how serious you are about reaching whatever goal it is that you have, and go for what's probably going to turn into the experience of your life. Don't think whatever you see in your business plan is what's going to happen. It might be greater, it might be a little less, but what I guarantee you is it'll be the experience of your life. And there's absolutely no reason to go for it. On the radio interview yesterday, the lady was asking me when I'm in Florida if I'm on vacation. Well, half the work is done up here, and the other half is done down there. And I like to think of myself that my days in South Florida are spent business hours working, and the other outside of business hours I am on vacation. It's absolutely, I feel extremely blessed to be in the position that I am. And somebody used that word earlier, being blessed. I think it was you. And really, that's what it is. There's probably going to be variations of the stories. We're obviously in different industries, but I'm not sure there's that many different things, different ways of putting it. Match your goal with the right level of effort, and it's all for the taking. Nothing's really in your way. Competition's not in your way, really. Again, what I told the lady on the radio yesterday, as far as risk, I look at it like this: if your level of determination, your level of perseverance, your level of commitment to what it is that you're doing, your work ethic, if those are weak, if those are low, I'll tell you right now, I don't know what your business is, what your industry is, your risk is high. Because really what it's going to come down to is there's going to be a morning where something's going to go wrong at 4 o'clock in the morning. It happened to me, and you're going to have to make a decision whether you want to keep sleeping, whether your dream was too nice and you want to keep going with it, or you wake up and actually solve it. That's what it's going to take. That's what it's all about, as far as reaching the maximum potential. And I wish everybody nothing but the best. And whether you're at the stage where you're looking to assess your business, whether it's viable or not, and you're doing your market research, if you're serious, we're going to look into it very deeply. And then let's say you did decide that this is the business for you, you need to go forward with it, you're going to realize you need money. Well, unless you have the money, or you have a rich uncle that could lend you $20,000, $50,000, you're going to have to be financed for that business. And you're going to have to present a business plan to get financed. How serious are you about getting financed? How hard are you going to work to put together your business plan? To really show your reader, are you going to put together a business plan that's going to be seen for 5 seconds and get thrown away? Or are you going to put together a business plan that's really going to answer the questions your financiers want to know? Whether you're operational and you want to you want to grow your business, you want to expand. Well, do you say to yourself, I'm already as busy as it is, I don't have time to do anything else? Or you're going to dig it a little bit deeper and find a way to push forward and grow your business. So from top to bottom, whether you're Donald Trump's level, whether you're just thinking about it, it comes down to work. It comes down to how hard you're willing to work. And I wish everybody, again, nothing but the best in your venture. And for those who aren't sure whether they want to go forward with it, give yourself a chance. Take a chance on yourself. Failure is not a word. Failure is not an option, as long as your level of determination is as high as it should be. Thank you.